Thousands have been killed in Gaza and many more injured in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Joining us today is a civilian, Naim Khatib. Thank you, sir, for joining us at such a difficult hour. Can you start by telling us where you are right now and what is the situation there in Gaza?
Thank you for calling me. I'm staying right now in the middle of Gaza because early this morning, people living in Gaza City, along with so many people in the neighborhood, employees and United Nations and international organizations, were asked by their employers, and by the Israeli army to evacuate north of Gaza and move to the south for fear of military operation. They were asked to evacuate the area.
When you say military operation, you mean on-ground operation?
We don't know. Bombardment is going on and intensifying, but the warning came to the international community in Gaza first. But afterwards, the Israeli army warned people living north of Gaza, about 1.1 million individuals, to move southern of Gaza, to evacuate the land. I don't believe that most of the people are leaving because a lot of people think it's a measure of evacuating the land so that any land operation would take place, or this would facilitate things for the Israeli army. But this by itself left people in chaos and fear.
And sir, you also mentioned before we started this call, you mentioned that you were going through a difficult moment. Can you tell me exactly what happened and when it happened?
Sadly, an hour ago, I received sad news about passing of the complete family of my cousin. My cousin lives in Rafah, in southern of Gaza Strip, in Shaoud district, by the Egyptian border. About an hour or 2 hours ago, the whole building, 2 or 3 story building, were shelled and put down to the ground. Killed in this operation, my cousin, her husband, 2 of her daughters-in-law, her grandsons and daughters, her daughter and her granddaughters, more than from 10 to 15 people, half of them are children, were taken.
I'm sorry, sir, alive. We've lost you in between, but we have you back now. And sir,
sorry.
That's okay, sir. That's okay. And I also wanted to ask you, Israel had stopped the supply of fuel, water, food, and essentials to Gaza. So how are you surviving there right now? What is the day-to-day life right now?
Well, actually, the Israeli war government, 2 or 3 days ago, after breakout of the current war, they cut out the electricity, preventing the supply of the fuel to the only power plant in Gaza. They cut off water supply as well. The internet is intermittent. It could go out anytime as well. They prevented the passage of the international and humanitarian relief to Gaza through the only crossing, which is Rafah crossing through Egypt. So the situation is very dire. People are living off whatever food they have left, whatever supplies they could gather in the local market. It differs from one place to another, but people are helping each other in solidarity. People tend to move away from places where they're warned that shelling and bombardment would take place and take refuge, gathering in groups, sharing their food, sharing their basic necessities, managing it's a crisis management. But food is not the big problem. It's the fear. You don't know where to go in Gaza. There is no safe places. There's no safe refuge in Gaza. People, like 500,000 people, moved to UNRWA schools, being the only refuge they could take. But even that, even those places are not safe. People are tend to move from one place to another because the bombardment is intensifying every minute.
And so, talking about bombardment, I can hear that as we speak, I can hear the sound of what I think are warplanes above you. And is there bombing happening right now as we speak?
Yes, yes.
Can you show us any visuals from your end? Can you show us?
I can do that. I can do that for lots of reasons. One of the reasons is we're banned
Oh, okay.
banned to do that for security reasons. But I can assure you that every inch in Gaza is being targeted. There is no safe place. There is no.
So when you say you've been banned, who has banned you? Which authority has banned you?
I'm sorry, I keep receiving calls from family and
No,
friends
I
asking me
understand it's a difficult hour, and even the internet connection there must be quite strained. But
people are calling to see how we're doing and to ask about the incident,
I
the
can
tragic
understand
incident in
it's a
Rafah.
very difficult hour. But can you tell me one thing that who has banned you from recording visuals in Gaza? Like, is it the Israeli Authority? Is it the Palestinian Authority?
You can say that the de facto government in Gaza, it's one of the measures. But even if I go out, there's nothing for you to see. I mean, I can speak of the situation as it is. People in Gaza are being collectively punished for actions of war. People of Gaza do not represent Hamas. I'm not affiliated with Hamas. So many people in Gaza are not affiliated with Hamas, but the Israeli war government is targeting every individual in Gaza, regardless of being a civilian or being a Hamas member. Actually, Hamas members are not on ground like me and other civilians. They're well, they're well covered. There is no safe places in Gaza for civilians. The whole humanitarian situation is deteriorating, and even the international community existing in Gaza are leaving. Actually, they're reluctant to leave, but they ask their affiliated members to evacuate whenever there is a warning from the Israeli army.
And sir, can I ask you another question over here? Something which might be a bit personal in this hour of grief for you. Who do you blame for what the people of Gaza, people like you, are going through? Who do you blame for this?
I blame the long time Israeli occupation, the apartheid system, the denial of our rights, the continuous oppression of our people and denying them of their rights. The whole conflict did not start a week ago. It started a very, very long time ago. You can't oppress people and expect them to be submissive and expect them to be peace loving. We people of Gaza are not thirsty for blood. We're peace loving people. My father has evacuated his home, his land, and whatever is called Israel right now, and accepted to live in Gaza. Our government accepted to go into peaceful talks in Gaza, but the current government has never accepted us as equals, has never treated us in compliance with the international law. Whatever is going on at the moment is a clear violation of the international humanitarian law. Civilians are killed for a crime they have not committed. I have nothing to do with Hamas, but the Israeli daily provocation, the incursions in the Aqsa Mosque, beating of women, old people, cannot go unpunished, cannot go in impunity. This accumulates hatred. This is not the way to go for peaceful living. People are cut from their livelihood at the moment. They're prevented from their basic human rights. Bombardment is going on, and a heavy one too. If it keeps going, I'm sure you'll be hearing it. There's no safe place in Gaza. This morning, I asked people to forgive me. I sent my daughter who lived abroad an email sending her some of my financial details, just expecting myself to be terminated anytime. There is no safe place. There is no hope. This is the situation currently in Gaza.
And sir, amidst all of this, I spoke to human rights activist Mr. Ghassan Abdullah from Ramallah yesterday, and he said that there is no hope for a Palestinian state in the current situation, and that hope is fading away. And another thing which we've also heard from various news reports is the casualties also include children and babies, newborns in that case. You yourself mentioned that the family members you lost included children at the same time.
Almost half of the casualties during the last couple of days are children. In the past, the Israeli army used to show their moral or ethical high ground, saying that they warned people before bombardment, before hitting or targeting their houses. But what's going on right now is that houses are demolished on the heads of the inhabitants. There is no safe place in Gaza. There is no safe movement. There is no safe refuge.
Where does one go in such a situation? You mentioned that the Rafah border has also been
you keep
bombed.
moving. You keep moving from one place to another. You follow directions from the Israeli army because they tend to post maps of targeted areas and ask us to move out of these areas. I happened to be at the border of one of those areas in southern Rimal. My whole neighborhood was demolished. They defaced the most beautiful places in Gaza, the metropolitan part of the city. It's just rubble right now. It's level to the ground. Gaza will never be as it was before.
And so before we part ways, and I know it's a difficult task, I had one final question from you. Looking at all of this, do you think that there is any way back? Do you feel that there is any future? Because you just mentioned to me that you're waiting over here, thinking that you might be terminated in the attack. So do you feel that there is any way out of this, or there's any way forward?
Unfortunately, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see at night, I see continuous shelling and bombardment. I see death closing in on us. I hope at least the international community could uphold the international humanitarian law, protecting civilians during time of war, allowing for the humanitarian assistance, humanitarian relief to pass through to Gaza, the supply of basic necessities. We are asking for the right of life. This is the only thing we're asking of the international community at the moment. Don't ask me about political solutions and political prospects. We're worried about our own lives right now.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that you joined us at a difficult hour. And I really hope you do see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I hope peace does prevail.
Thank you for having me.
For more such updates, please follow ThePrint on all social media platforms. This is Munif Khan, Senior Correspondent, signing off.